Wait a second, there's only 19 days left to finish this. I better get started. I do love Remnant Excavator and Exploration in the same pack. Wow. I didn't realize you could get both Uli Moolies in this cube now. I think the best cards in this pack are Wooded Foothills and maybe Exploration. I don't know, maybe Lelia. I mean, I'm just going to take Wooded Foothills. Isn't this card horrendous? I think I'm supposed to have that like that so you can see it. I don't even know what to pick here. I guess Avacyn's Pilgrim. It really feels to me like a lot of the new additions to this cube are just quite bad. Like, just the overall power level of the cube has gone down. And not by that small of an amount. So we've got Grist. It's not awful. Necromancy, which is a very strong card. Though I kind of don't like drafting Reanimator. I guess I'll take Necromancy though. A Triome to go with my Wooded Foothills. I guess. Ooh, Living Death. This is actually one of the new cards I think is maybe pretty good. Become Immense. No, I'd prefer to just stay the same size. I did a draft where I wound up with this card in my deck. It's never good. It's not good. It's not a good card. I could take Fauna Shaman to go with my Living Death Necromancy kind of plans. Is that better than just picking Bitter Reunion, though? I feel like Bitter Reunion's just a much better card. Fulminator Mage is kind of cool with Living Death. Somewhat that, or I could get a Triome that's red-black. The Wooded Foothills already gets me red and black because of the Andatha Triome. I think I'll just take Fulminator Mage. Do I need an Uli Mooli for my deck? Not really. Guess I'm going to take Dam. I don't really understand the cards like Bloodghast that are in this cube now. There's all of this attempt to make it so that like you're going to play, like you're going to be filling up your graveyard and, you know, moving creatures out. But it's all like such small ball stuff that I don't think it really matters very much in cube. I guess I'll take Gurmag Angler. Grave Titan, that's the kind of card for me. Like this thing, the Dogged Detective. Is this a good card? Seems kind of bad. But Blazing Root Wall is like the biggest example of this. Like you're going to get a free Blazing Root Wall into play at some point, and that's really going to matter. I don't really think so. Is this Vintage Cube more modern level? Maybe. I mean, it still has the really broken cards that make it Vintage Cube, but like so many of the surrounding pieces, I think are just weaker. Sheoldred, that's not a weak card. It would be nice to get stuff like Agatha's Soul Cauldron if I'm going to be doing this Living Death plan. Like having some way to get creatures out of my opponent's graveyard. Would be nice. in the market for a Wheel of Fortune. I do have Shieldred, but other than that, the Wheel of Fortune doesn't look particularly good in this deck. There's also Dark Ritual, which I don't have any fast mana. I'm kind of inclined to just take Oliphant, though. That or Kolaghan's Command. Absence of Judgment is another one of these cards that it's like they're trying to make you do this thing that I think is just kind of underwhelming. Those Conscript's a pretty nice option. Don't really like any of these cards. I guess Overgrown Tomb is good. Gives me a way to get untapped black mana from my Wooded Foothills. That's something. There's Corpse Dance, although I'm not super set up to be a good Corpse Dance deck. I think I'll just take Blood Tithe Harvester. More like red-black mid-range with like a little bit of graveyard stuff right now. Do I want Stitcher's Supplier? This card I think is just pretty poor. Also, I could take Lingering Souls. Maybe I wind up in a deck that can use that. I think I'll take Stitcher Supplier just because I'm concerned my curve's a little bit high, which I don't know that Stitcher Supplier helps that much with it. Is this Reclamation card going to be good for me? Possibly. I think this Emrakul is one of the better additions to this cube. This card is both interesting and it's pretty powerful. I don't have enough fast mana / maybe I'll get enough stuff for it. Well, we'll take it and see. Mind Twist. All right, I'll take it. This is about where I think Mind Twist should go in this cube. Actually, I don't think it's a super powerful card. The Timeless Dragon. Maybe I can do something with that. I don't think I'm going to play with Saheeli. I guess the other option is Terra Sunder might be fine. I'm probably going to have enough green mana that if I want that effect, it'll be castable. We have the Hollow one. Maybe I'm supposed to take this. It's an artifact if I want to get to Emrakul. Got a little bit of discard stuff. And it does cycle. I don't know. I'm going to take Lord Skitter here, even though it's... I could take a Vault Sleeper for a cheap card, but I want something that can attack my opponent's graveyard if I'm going to be playing with Living Death, and Lord Skitter gives me a little bit of that. I think I'm not in the market for Eldrazi's. Maybe I'm getting to the point where all the pieces are going to come together and I'll want cards like Vengevine. I guess if I get the Faithless Looting, which I don't think I've passed. There's a Troll of Khazad-dûm at the bottom. I think I'm just taking Soul Guide Lantern. I'll probably wheel a decent land out of this pack, either Blooming Marsh or Commercial District. We have Ragavan. That would obviously be fine. This card is like perfect example of how a lot of these new cards are just not particularly good. I guess if you had setup for this guy where you weren't tapping him to discard a card to exile the top cards of your library, it'd be fine, but I don't think there's that many ways to do that. I don't think I have enough stuff that I'm in the market for Life Death. So I'm just going to take Ragavan. Squee is another one of the cards that's like, I kind of get what you're telling me to do, but it just isn't good. I'm obviously going to take Reanimate. In the market for a Through the Breach. No, I really didn't. I don't have that many big, juicy creature targets, so it's either Polluted Delta, which doesn't get me red mana, or Bitter Triumph. If the Polluted Delta got me red mana, I would take it, but it currently doesn't. I don't know that I'm going to get something that would allow me to do it. Am I supposed to try this thing out? I guess I'll try it, but it doesn't seem good. I'm going to try it. No. Grief. Grief could be my kind of card. Ooh, Bloodstained Mire. Nice. I think at this point I'm not going to be playing Stitcher's Supplier. Maybe not Gurmag Angler either. So the question is, do I want to take Bloodstained Mire, which is really good for my mana, or do I want to take Dauthi Voidwalker, which is obviously just a great card? I think I'm going to take Dauthi Voidwalker. Unearth wouldn't be the worst, but I think I'd rather just have an Umrith Shieldbreaker for my sideboard. We have a Kiki Jiki. This would be a fair Kiki Jiki. Or Blooming Marsh in case I want to board in like Terra Sunder. I don't think I'm going to play with a fair Kiki Jiki. And I'm not going to put Magda in my deck. I don't think it's good enough. Do I want Gix? Well, I'm not going to play with any of the other cards, so that's pretty easy. Maybe there's a way to do something with Altar of Dementia. It combos with the 4-mana human. Oh yeah, Kiki Jiki. You mean Zala's Conscripts. I forgot about that. So it wouldn't have been purely fair. I maybe should have picked it. I think it would be really hard for me to cast more, which is why I didn't really consider it that much. I guess I'll play Lava Claw Reaches. Probably won't play Indatha Triome. And I'm going to cut... Kind of don't want either of these cards. What other options do I have? I guess I could play Gix. Jiki, it would just be a. Can you copy legendaries with it? I guess it's not good to copy legendaries, but like Kiki Jiki plus Fulminator Mage would be something. Kiki Jiki plus Blood Tithe Harvester is something. Kiki Jiki Grief is something. Like it would honestly be like a pretty reasonable card in my deck. I probably should have picked it. So how much red do I need? The only really reason that I would want a decent amount of red is like turn 1 Ragavan. So I probably want a little bit more. Like in theory, this is the kind of deck that should be trying to do like hollow and stuff, but I don't think there's enough support for that kind of discard theme in the cube. You'd have to get like almost like a perfect selection of the things that do that before it would become appealing. Like you have to get Faithless Looting, and you probably want like Seasoned Pyromancer in addition to some of the Bitter Reunion type stuff. It just doesn't seem supported enough to me. Yeah, my deck is a little bit underpowered to be playing against people who have turn 1 Black Lotus. I'm probably going to play Dinosaurs in the qualifier, which I haven't queued for the Saturday thing. I was going to play in the play-ins tomorrow and queue, presumably. This game seems hopeless. I made some improvements to my Dinosaurs deck that made some of the bad matchups not quite as bad. Yeah, I don't think we need to really do anything else this game. I could get a Mox this turn. Have they replaced Bitter Reunion? I demand answers. I don't mind sharing my list, but I don't really want to have to open Arena right now, so I guess I don't want to. Basically, I put Nahiri's Warcraftings in my sideboard, which I think help with like I was losing to people who were like white-black and had 4 Preacher of the Schism and had Shieldrids. So I added some Nahiri's Warcraftings to my sideboard for that kind of matchup. And I have Wrenn and Realm Breakers, which I think is good against some of the Sunfall decks. I'm not sure that it's really actually a top deck, even with those changes. It's a little better, though. I didn't really... it seems like the best decks are some sort of, like, Esper, soupy kind of decks. I just don't really feel like playing. Yeah, like Rusko decks that have Reprieve in them, basically. I'm not really sure what the rest of your deck is supposed to be, but that sort of shell seems like it's probably the best thing in the format. Come on, Ragged Man, give me a Black Lotus one time. Badlands, that's not a Black Lotus. Guess I can... Oh. Sacking the Soul Guide Lantern to demand answers really... Once it's in play, that's not really a thing that helps you in any way. So I want like Shadow Spear in my deck against their deck. Soul Guide Lantern doesn't seem like the sauce. Grimmack Angler is probably better than Shadow Spear. Shadow Spear is pretty expensive. Should I just turn one Grief them? I guess I'm on the draw, so it's probably not that good. Ooh, they didn't have Black Lotus. I like it when my opponents don't play Black Lotus. I would have turned one Grief them, obviously, if like this land had been a reanimate. But I don't think it's worth it. That's as bad as my hand is. Isn't this the person who played Chandra in game one? What happened to that? Guess I'm playing life. I'm really regretting that I took that Soul Guide Lantern out of my deck now. Kind of regretting that I didn't just sack the blood also. The way I played, I wind up a card, but it's kind of a meaningless land. Would have been better to just get an extra loot. Maybe this will be good in a couple of turns. They'll Savin's Reclamation back the Lord Skitter, and then I'll be able to play Living Death. Or not. I guess I'm not going to miss that living death. It's going to be pretty hard for it to be good. Come on, Sheoldred off the top. Or Necromancy. Necromancy would be a good draw. Sheoldred. Let's see if I was right that it's actually a good draw. Being able to Necromancy their Lord Skitter and then exile the Sevin's Reclamation would be pretty nice. I think that this thing can exile creature or non-creature cards, right? Yeah, it's just cards. Sheoldred's a hell of a card. Still have Bitter Reunion left in my deck, so I'm going to want to hold one land in my hand, but I think that's the only thing left that it matters. I also have that 7-drop black creature. So potentially I'm going to withdraw and want to put my 7th land into play. Come on, give me an opponent. This deck is great. I'm ready to face all comers. I just need them to get mana screwed and I top deck Sheoldred when I need it. Cut to put the Surveil lands in the cube. I'm kind of confused by what the dual land mix is in this cube now. I guess there isn't full cycles of a lot of the lands. Is that true? Like, are there all of the creature lands? I don't know. They're just giving me extra blood. pretty sure the red-blue one isn't in the cube, and what's it called? Cascade Bluffs is. So I'm gonna eat the token, dam that thing, and then attack the Teferi. And I don't have any reason to want green mana, so I'm just going to get rid of that as my worst land. It's in my deck because it can have a fetch that can get it. Get rid of this thing. Oh, I should have played a land first in case they had Spell Pierce. That was bad. Guess I should still take the Adeline. Like they can have ways to recast the Ancestral, but if I draw my Living Death, I'll be happier if the Adeline's not there. Also, they could have just waited for the Soul Guide Lantern to resolve. So it at least wasn't on their mind that they'd want the Ancestral to still be in their graveyard. It's a whole lot of life gaining going on over there. Let's find out what they're all about. What does Eagles of the North do? Like if you cast it, that's what I'm concerned about. I guess that's fine if they want to cast that. It's not really fine, but I think the Venser is a bigger problem. Ooh, 2 extra damage for me. Nice. The Jace is pretty annoying. It's not the Jace. Do I think Alchemy should be brought to Magic Online? No, probably not. I mean, I think Alchemy is fun, but it's not popular enough that it would warrant bringing it anywhere. So do I want to draw a card for 1 life? Probably do. If I top deck that 7-drop, it'd be good. It's not going to be good to draw off a Bitter Reunion, though. I guess there's also, I could just use this Gix ability and hope I hit something that does something. That doesn't seem like a winning strategy, but maybe it's my best option. Living Death. It's really not going to save me. Maybe it will save me if they block with the Hanger Backwalker. Somehow. Okay. Potentially making some progress. I'm going to go for the don't suicide plan. Can't do this. You can only do that at sorcery speed, so having it have haste wouldn't have actually helped me. Oh, they're not paying to do it. Wonder why. Possible they have like a flash flying creature, but I wouldn't have been able to beat that because the Blood Tithe Harvester is sorcery speed, even when it has haste. Yeah. That was close to a comeback. I don't think I want any of that stuff. I was going to pitch those conscripts, but I think I'll pitch my second mountain instead. Oh, we get to know what they're going to get. It's just going to be Ancestral Recall, but I'm still going to pitch my second mountain. I chose right. I didn't need all those lands. I think I played 5 mountains, maybe it was 6 even. But I'm running a little bit low on targets for Wooded Foothills. I played 6 mountains, so I have 7 targets, but I had already drawn 4 of them. Well, my Sheoldred's not going to get spell quellered, but it seems like it's going to get countered. I'm going to cast it, though. Okay, it didn't get countered. That's nice. Something bad's happening. Wrath of God. They freed the Fae and found a Wrath of God. Guess I'm getting 4 damage out of the Sheoldred. It's not nothing. I was just going to Zealous Conscripts one of their lands and just hit him for 3 and play the Soul Guide Lantern, but I guess I'll Mind Twist almost their whole hand. You got Unexpectedly Absent, Luris, Leonin Relic Warder. That's not that big of a deal. Jace Friend's Prodigy. I did get 4 spells. That's pretty nice. This is going to be a big picklock prankster. If I top deck a land, Grave Titan, give it haste is going to be nice. Guardians of Nubenalia, sure. It's not the land I was hoping for. I guess it's fine. Why did I quit Twitch? I just didn't feel like streaming all that regularly anymore. I'm never going to stream enough that it makes sense to have a Twitch channel. So this is lethal as long as they don't have anything. If I didn't have this extra creature, they could chump and live another turn. I guess it was a mistake not to sack the blood and maybe find another creature to make it more lethal. If this was a Ragavan, it wouldn't have mattered. It wasn't a Ragavan. This is an extremely fair hand for Vintage Cube. I think I'm going to keep it just because they aren't like a super fast deck, although they're off to a faster start. So the madness on this is 3 mana and 8 life. That's a lot. You want to be able to watch ad-free? I'm trying to help you out. The ads are good for you. They whiffed. Not bad. They wanted something with... Why didn't they play Unexpectedly Absent for more? They weren't going to counter my spell, and they didn't use their mana on anything. I'm confused. But, alright. I'll accept it. I don't know why they did it, but maybe there was a reason. And that's a big boy. I might be able to beat the 0 blade hold. Even if the Preacher doesn't get to block it this turn, but it's going to hurt. Don't think I can win. I have 3 blockers for 6 attackers, so I die. That was a good draw. Oh. Nice if I had already had that in play. I'm going to die to the Eagles of the North again. Eagles of the North, has anyone ever been able to beat it? The answer is obviously no. It's unbeatable. Well, that's going to be a problem. I'm considering just pitching my whole hand to this. What does this do? If I hit Wrath of God, which I know they have in their deck, I might be able to win. I guess. I don't think there's any way I can win by attacking on the ground through the Hangerback Walker. They're too high of a life total, so let's do it. Maybe I'll hit Ancestral Recall and I'll get to do this again next turn. This was actually pretty good. Oh, you're right. I can't flip the Jace. That would be real bad. It's 5 cards in the yard, right? So I can't even... I was thinking it would be nice to gain some life with the shield or with the Jace, but I can't do that. Is this Wrath? So I'm close to dying to the Eagles of the North now. This has been a strange game. What am I good draws? Necromancy would be real good. Not even sure what I would take, honestly, with Necromancy. Probably this Shadowgrange Archfiend. Well, I guess it depends on what they have in play, but that would be a choice. Grave Titan would also be a potential choice, and I guess they have a Venser that some sort of emergency situation might be okay. Right. No, that ain't good. I might have messed up by playing that land last turn. I draw like Bitter Reunion into Bitter Triumph. It's going to be bad. I needed white mana. Did I play any IPA while it was out? No, I didn't play any IPA. I think IPA is a pretty good format, but I just didn't play any. So we've got a companion Zerda, meaning it's probably some sort of Basalt Monolith infinite mana deck. How did I know? This game's going to be really hard to win. I'm not very well set up to just beat the Retrofit Foundry on its own, and I have to leave up mana so I can, like, blood token. Sack my blood token and kill a Zerda so I don't give them a turn of infinite mana with Retrofitter Foundry, because that obviously wouldn't be conducive to winning either. What's this thing? Ultimate -8. Things have indestructible. Rather, there's things don't have indestructible. Guess I can probably kill the Elspeth. I don't think this game's winnable. So if they get the Zerda into their hand and cast it, that's 6 mana. They'll have 2 mana left over, which is still enough to go infinite. And if I had tapped down to only 1 mana untapped, then I wouldn't even be able to interact with that. Don't need to save the blood token now that I have Bitter Reunion. I can just crack that to get Revolt for the fatal push. Is that a good draw? It's an okay draw. Maybe the way I can win this game is I get them to do their Zerda combo 1 turn, and then I top deck Living Death. I could also possibly draw Zealous Conscripts next turn to steal the Elspeth and ultimate it. Kind of confused why they haven't done the Zerta thing yet. Like it made sense not to necessarily go for it on the early turns of the game, but at this point, kind of wondering if they haven't just forgotten about it. I guess I'm gonna see if I top deck the Zealous Conscripts. I did not. So I'm drawing to a 1-outer with a redraw if I draw Demand Answers. If all they have is Foundry, they really could have just waited till the end of my turn. I'm not Fatal Pushing the Zerta because I have to draw Living Death, so it's just a waste of a Fatal Push. Nope. Obviously, I want Embrace Shield Breaker. I wonder if I want Emrakul. Probably not. I wonder what I picked over Colligan's Command. This is not a very good hand. This is also not a very good hand. They have Reprieve? Why didn't they spend mana on Figure of Destiny? They do have Reprieve. How did I know? It's not a very good draw in the face of Parallax Wave. Wow, their deck is really different than what I thought it was. They're not an artifact-focused deck really at all. They just had the Retrofitter Foundry Zerda combo. This ain't going great for me. Yeah, I knew this deck was not very good. Let's try again. What do you got for me? Should I be an innovator and first pick Soul Ring? I know most people are against it. Most people hate Soul Ring. Nobody likes it at all. But I'm going to risk it. Palace Jailer is also a very good first pick. Archon of Cruelty, I guess, is fine too. So is Inti. This actually isn't a bad pack. But I'm going to risk it and go with the first pick Soul Ring. Now what? Squee Goblin Nabob. Obvious second pick. Has there ever been a better card than Squee Goblin Nabob? I'm having a hard time thinking of any. This card is like... It's maybe not the worst card in this cube, but it is so bad you should never put it in your deck, I'm pretty sure. It's really, really poor. It's just straight up a blank. But moving on to cards I might actually pick and play with. There's some lands, which... I guess Bloodstained Mire is the best of them. There's him. I really don't like being black. I think I'm just going to take Mightstone and Weakstone. Hope I get to beat lots of artifacts. It's not a bad follow-up from starting with Soul Ring. There is Faithless Looting, which has to have gone up a lot in, like, they tried to warp the whole cube around making Faithless Looting a great card, so it has to have been improved somewhat. Guess I'm just taking Spell Pierce. I kind of like green decks. I don't mind green Sun Zenith, but it's not going to be good with Mightstone and Weakstone. I'm going to hope to get into like a blue artifact deck. Dreadhorde Arcanist is, I guess if you get the perfect deck for it, it's quite good, but you have to be like red-blue and get a lot of 1-mana cards because you're not going to boost its power hardly at all. Also, why does it have this weird... Oh, it's a Time Spiral remastered version. Okay. Guess I'm going to take Brain Freeze. Maybe I wind up in some sort of combo-y artifact deck. Flicker the Mightstone and Weakstone. It's really hard for me to actually think that I'm going to wind up with both of those cards in the same deck. Palantir of Orthanc. Is that going to be a good card for me? Maybe. Other options is like Path of Exile. Path to Exile. When's the new Path of Exile expansion start? I saw they started previewing it. I keep getting suckered into playing the expansions thinking it'll be like the last one I play. I guess I'm taking Path to Exile. Fast Bond. This is a very, very late Fast Bond. Kind of inclined to pick it. Is it time to abandon ship? All aboard the Fast Bond train. The more sane option is to just take Fractured Identity, obviously. But we're going to hop on board the Fast Bond train. Given that I'm now all in on being a Fast Bond deck, what do I want? Probably Spar's Headquarters. I guess the only card that is completely useless in a Fast Bond deck is probably the Mightstone and Weakstone. And even that, I mean, I could... For some reason, I really thought I needed to kill Sheoldred or something. I could play it. Now what? There's Titania, which is generally good in the kind of decks that Fast Bond is good in. And there's Ndatha Triome, which... probably not. And then this is one of the new cards to the cube. This thing is a real stinker. I guess it's better than Squeagoblin Nabob, but it's really the same card as Squeagoblin Nabob. So it is not very good. You have Haywire Might. Which could be okay. Survival of the Fittest. Probably not. I'll just take the land. And I'll take the land again. Well, somebody could get OG Squeagoblin Nabob and that Master of Death card. And the Survival of the Fittest. And then they'd be all set for, like, they'd have the greatest deck the world had ever seen. Green Sun Zenith Wield. It does seem like this this deck is open. Probably just Once Upon a Time. Probably not going to want Fast or Brain Freeze. Maybe I get like Time Twister and Time Spiral, and then I'd switch to more of like a Storm style deck, but probably not. This is another one of the cards that's nice to get in this archetype. Now what do you have to offer me? Kind of not much here, huh? Cards I might actually play. Relic of Progenitus. Maybe Territorial Kavu. Maybe this Venser. Breeding Pool I would obviously play, but I kind of already have so many lands, I'd like to pick an actual spell. The only problem with Territorial Kavu is I don't expect to have very much red mana in my deck, so it's going to be really hard to play on turn 2. I guess I'm going to take Venser. Kind of expecting to have more blue mana than red, just because I already have the Spell Pierce. What's going on? There's like a wood chipper outside my door now. That's nice. I'm sure you guys are enjoying that. Do you want Force of Negation or Soul Guide Lantern? Probably Soul Guide Lantern. This is another pretty disappointing pack. Ignoble Hierarch, is that what I want? I guess. Is that or the Lush Portico? Is this the thing? Stuff I've been waiting for all this time. I haven't passed Channel or Sneak Attack or Through the Breach. I could gamble and just hope to salvage my draft. Or I could pick Sentinel of the Nameless City, which is pretty weak. Or I could pick Snapcaster Mage and hope that I get like Ancestral or Time Walk. you're playing Green Sun Zenith, you want some number of 1-mana dorks. Yeah, that's a good point. That is... I think I'm going to gamble and take Emrakul here, but you're right that getting stuff that works with Green Sun Zenith should be something I was prioritizing more than I did. That I'd prioritize more than I was. What does this thing do? It's like a beatdown creature, right? This is a weird inclusion in this cube. Like, I think I would play Hydroid Krasis a lot more frequently than I ever put this card in my deck. Guess I'm going to take Ketria Triome. Be really nice if I could get some green fetch lands. I think I passed one in the first pack. This seems like a pretty easy Lotus Cobra. I like this R1 card. I think it's probably not powerful enough for this cube, especially because it's in a horrible color combination. But just as a card, I think it's pretty cool. I really feel like they've changed the cube now so that there's a big percentage of cards that just people are almost never going to play, like Arwen or the Dog Detective. Why can... You would think that, like, they wouldn't need specialized detectives just for dogs. Like, if you're an animal detective, you could handle the dog cases, too. Now I need Zuran Orb. Ooh, Exploration. I guess I'm taking Exploration because my whole deck's going to be built around trying to do fast bond things, but this Windswept Teeth would be very nice if I could get it. Yeah, I feel a lot better about picking Breeding Pool on the wheel. Yeah, Scavenging Ooze isn't the worst. A Lush Portico, is that what I'm in the market for? I think so. So I'm going to play 18 lands. With Fast Bond and Exploration, you just want to play a really high land count. So 10 more lands, meaning I need to get 6 more spells. Realistically, I'm probably not playing the Emrakul unless I get, like... I guess out of this next pack, I could get Channel plus, like, Zuran Orb, which would give me an infinite mana combo, and then maybe it makes my deck. Show and Tell plus Emrakul not worth it? I don't think so. I do think it... I did one of these before I was streaming, and somebody actually showed and told into play an Emrakul, and it's the first time someone's done that against me in so long. Like, I think it's a sign that the power level of the cube's gone down a fair amount, that people are actually willing to put show and tell in their deck again. Because for a long time, it was just a card you would never play with unless you were trying to lose. Here's another card you should just never play with, Dark Depths. Not a new addition to the cube, but truly a terrible card. What does this Renin Realmbreaker do? It's probably the pick. Stern Scolding might be decent. This Court of Garenbrig card is like wildly game warping whenever anybody plays it, but I haven't been of the opinion that it actually favors the person who casts it all that often. Like the whole game revolves around it having been played, but I rarely think it's worth it for the person who spent 3 mana in a card to put the effect into play. I guess I'm taking Renin Realmbreaker over like the Oddity or Ancient Tomb. Endurance, not the worst. Man, they put this root wall in the cube too. There's a lot of root walls nobody's ever going to want to play that's in this cube now. Same thing with like Bloodghast. Guess I'm taking Endurance. And at this point, it really looks like Emrakul is not getting played. Pest Infestation. It's not a bad one, but I think I might want to show down on the Scalds more. How's my deck planning on winning? It's not really clear that it's going to be able to win. Prismatic Ending could be okay. There's Sneak Attack. Should I take that and just hope with the Emrakul? Yeah, I think so. It's possible Prismatic Ending wheels. We have a Kiki Jiki. Does it do enough for me? Not really. Probably just Tamiyo. Oh, I do like this Nissa a lot. This kind of deck. I think I should maybe take the Fiery Islet, though. I didn't get any fetch lands, which is going to make the Ramanap Excavator a little bit awkward or underpowered. What does this thing do? Probably not enough. Not really set up to use natural order. It's nice when you're in this deck and you can actually take advantage of natural order, but I don't have a great thing to get, and I don't even have that many creatures to sack, so that's not really gonna add up to working out all that well. Do I want Rogran Triome over Hollowed Fountain? Maybe I do. Balance, Court of Garenbrig, Elite Spellbinder, or Uvenwald Oddity. Guess I want the Uvenwald Oddity. Maybe I'm not going to play Sneak Attack and Emrakul. And I just have all the tri-lands, or should I get a creature land? Maybe I want a creature land. This is kind of sad that I didn't get, even though I got Fast Bond Exploration, I didn't get like Tireless Tracker. I didn't get, I don't know if Courser of Crufix is still in the cube. But I definitely didn't get a lot of the pieces that would have been nice to get for this kind of deck. I might board in Oust. I'll definitely play this Nissa. We'll definitely not play the Fauna Shaman. Man, somebody could have had Fauna Shaman and like all the Squee Goblin Nabobs that are in the cube. And they didn't want that. Who wouldn't want something like that? I think I'm going to cut Tamiyo. Maybe I'm not supposed to play Inferno Titan. Maybe I don't have enough red mana. not going to be great, but it's not awful. I don't know that Soul Ring Green Sun Zenith is really going to be that good for me. Like, my most expensive creature to go get is this Titania, which it's going to need a little bit of setup before it does anything. Getting no fetch lands is brutal. Play green, play Cavalier over Inferno Titan. That's a good idea. I'll do that. Actually, I'm not going to play a mountain, then I'm just going to play another forest. I really didn't wind up with enough card drawing to support playing Exploration and Fast Bond. You want to get cards like Escape to the Wilds, which I don't know if that one's still in the cube or not either. That might have gotten cut. Escape to the Wilds or like Courser or Augur of Autumn. Augur of Autumn's definitely still in the cube. Luris deck. I know people like these, like, just companion Luris, play all the cheap cards you get decks. Every time I play against them, they don't seem very good to me. So I still need blue mana to be able to cast Omnath. Would I have played if I went to a different school? I have no idea if I would have played if I went to a different school, but I did start as an undergrad. But I'm old enough, like, Magic had just come out when I was an undergrad. Like, I don't, it certainly was, like, not widely available, at least when I was in high school. Green Sun Zenith. What can that get me? Get Endurance? Is that something I'm in the market for? Yeah, I think I can do better. They took the Omnath, which I can't even cast. I mean, I guess they're worried I was going to draw an island. So I suppose that makes some amount of sense. But it definitely, they didn't go for their highest upside, which was just take the Cavalier and then hope I never draw an island. I think that's pretty good. I guess I sort of found the island. It was a lot of work to get that island. I think I want to draw Ramanap Excavator. Yeah, I thought about getting Green Cincinnati so I could get Titanium, but it doesn't even help me that much. No. Time Walk's not very good for me. This really went bad kind of quick. I thought I was doing so well when I got that Cavalier into play. And now I might just be dead. So I go down to 5 to use Nissa to kill this. That doesn't work. I guess I can go down to 5 to use Nissa to kill this. Maybe something good happens from there. Oh, I could have killed the Copter instead. I forgot that this didn't have 2 counters on it, so they can only deal 3 damage with it. Still might have been better to do what I did. Don't think there's a way out of this in my deck, but let's find out. No. Time Walk was brutal. I think I want Oust over Spell Pierce. Do I want Night of Autumn? Probably not. That's a pretty good card. Yes, Augur of Autumn is better than Prime Mage. They're both just awful. Like, unless your opponent's just playing almost entirely artifacts, they're both just terrible cards. My hope is that they don't block this turn, and then next turn they just play Bitter Blossom. My hope is also that they don't draw Time Walk this game. Trying to figure out I want to actually oust a token. Yeah, I think the answer is yes. Because now I'll be able to attack with the oddity this turn. And then next turn I can play this land and get the landfall trigger and transform the oddity. Gonna lose to the Jite again. It's never been beaten. Forced to chump at least. So perhaps there's hope. They also don't have blue mana, so they can't play Time Walk. That's good. Maybe I should have had the Knight of Autumn in my deck if they're going to have Jite, Bitter Blossom, and Smuggler's Copter. I probably have something bad in my deck I could take out. They aren't doing something that's making me concede yet. I think they might have messed up. They maybe should have jumped with this to stay at 2 so they could have cast Dam if they'd drawn it. Opponent's name means milk in Swedish? Okay. What do you want me to do about that? Like, I don't see how I could possibly stop it from meaning milk in Swedish. Like, it's not reasonable of you to expect me to convince the people from Sweden to change what words mean in their language. It's okay. It's an understandable mistake to make. They're looking like they're pretty dead. I guess they could have had, if they have some sort of instant, maybe, but the Colonnades forces the chump, the spirit token. All right, should we do some sideboarding? Further sideboarding. Like, what if I cut Venser, play Knight of Autumn, and I cut this Nissa, just play Inferno Titan. I cut an island and a forest, and I play 2 mountains. This Nissa could be okay. It's just kind of paying life for it, I think, is going to be painful in this matchup. I added an extra forest. Is that true? Do I have a 41 card deck now? I do. Oh, that was unintentional, but it'll be good to have extra lands with Fast Bond in my deck. That's just good deck building. Rude. Is there a smuggler's copter in my future? Well supplied with the lands. I'm well supplied with the lands. They're going to move the Glimmer Lens to draw a card. Okay. It's not going to matter, but I messed up. I should have cycled the Spar's Headquarters over that red land. I forgot I had Inferno Titan in my deck. Oh no. Demonic Tutor. That's not going to be good for me. I guess they've already played their dams, and they might not have a card that can just kill the Cavalier of Thorns. Probably they do, though. Oust. Some life for me. I was hoping that I would hit one of those Horizon Canopy lands off the Cavalier. Yeah, that's not going to be good for me. All the things somebody could play on turn one, this is maybe not the scariest. It's probably still going to be good enough to beat me, though. All right, this is a matchup where I will board in the Knight of Autumn and the Wasali Pride Mage. Be a lot easier to win if I had hands had Fast Bond or Exploration in them. Blue, white, red, green. Please don't have any way to interact with my Omnath. My only hope is that it basically lives for the rest of the game. That's not what I wanted. Is there any way to win this game? I don't think so. Come on, good opening hand. Not really. I think it's good enough to keep, though. Maybe I should be mulliganing more than my opening hands. I've not had very many opening hands that had 1 mana cards in them, even though I have a lot of them. But I don't know. I feel like my deck is not so powerful that it can really just afford to mulligan a ton. I've done it. I've found my soul ring. Guess it's helpful. That honestly could have been worse for me. I'm going to get the Spell Pierce something? Probably not. Still not. Spell Piercing that to make them play 2 wouldn't have even done anything. Do you take Mana Crypt over any of the Moxes? I think I would probably take the blue Mox over it. Well, and something good. Guess that was pretty good. I might take the white Mox over Mana Crypt too, especially if you're excited about drafting what's it called? White Weenie. Like Mana Crypt's obviously good in that deck too, but I think having the additional white source might be better. This is an exciting use for a turn. Getting a counter on the Raging Ravine. It's always been my dream to have my Raging Ravine getting a counter when it attacks and can't deal damage. It's truly excellent. Probably going to attack with everything next turn. Might as well have this in play. Come on. Lose the flip. They didn't lose the flip. You don't even think Black Lotus is better than Mana Crypt? I think Black Lotus is better than Mana Crypt too. Like, especially if you're interested in drafting like Underworld Breach or Yawgmoth's Will kind of decks. I should probably just blindly Spell Pierce almost anything. Yeah, I guess I'll Spell Pierce this. Just because it's like one less creature with the Retrofitter Foundry, and I probably have to Alpha Strike them and kill them this turn, or I'm not going to win. Hopefully this is not Portal to Phyrexia. Maybe I might even be able to beat Portal to Phyrexia. Glad you could catch my stream. So far, it hasn't been going very good. I don't think I've drafted particularly good decks. All right, so I'm obviously sacking Lotus Cobra and Elvish Mystic. Maybe I want to sack Cavalier of Thorns. And just put Nissa back on top of my deck. I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to play Nissa and hope, like, Nissa minus attacking for lethal is enough to win. Oh, that's not changing the equation. Am I going to play in the arena qualifier this weekend? I'm going to, assuming I would make it through the play-in tomorrow, which I was planning on playing in the play-in a decent amount. This gives trample, right? Yeah. It worked. Finally won a game. I think I'm happy with how I sideboarded. You hope you won't face me on Saturday. Okay, I'll take that to mean that you're hoping to dodge me on Saturday, not that I won't make it. This hand on the draw. I think this one I'm going to mulligan. Seems a little better. It's still no mana elf, no soul ring, no fast bond, no exploration. This is not going well. That was a real vintage cube experience. Is it turn one hex drinker, bump it up a lot? It is. It's probably going to be good enough to beat me, but it's kind of funny. I think I'm hoping that they don't have another mana source and they can't get this to pro everything. This turn I'm going to be able to Venser it next turn. I do have them down to 16. Not bad. All right, my plan of Vensering it's not going to happen. Maybe I can race them. I lose 2 more flips. Oh, 1 more flip now, maybe. That's a pretty good card. That's not my day. I maybe should have played a tap land turn 1. Hopefully I don't have it. No lands, just hopefully they have nothing. It's this weird hex stringer start again. Nice. I think they're doing it with no lands this time, though. No, they have a land. Okay. So I draw Path to Exile. I can play around Spell Pierce. Or I can just draw land. Land's good too. Not really, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. I'm doing good. Oh, I think I'm dead, right? I'm going to go to 4 and then back up to 6. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. All right, well, that's it for me. That was a pretty horrible experience. I don't know how many games in a row that was where somebody had to turn 1 Soul Ring or Mana Crypt, but it was a lot. Thanks for watching. Like I mentioned a couple times, I'm going to be playing some Alchemy tomorrow. I don't know if I'll stream it or maybe I'll record it and make a video. Or maybe I'll do bad and won't do anything. I don't know. But if you haven't already, just follow me on YouTube, and if I post something, you'll see it then. Thanks for watching.